Only one of us pulls off the red tights look, and it ain't you, Speedy!
You stole my phone? That's a federal offense!
Yeah, we're ready for a rematch, Flash. A rematch with a bullet.
We're gonna give you the content you love. A good old-fashioned freak show!
Welcome to Between the Joysticks. Press start and then we're off. Nick and John, they've got the sauce. Breaking news and some hot takes. Even if there's some mistakes, Nick is captaining the ship, while John gives thoughts straight from the hip. But when their powers combine, we're all in for a hell of a time. Between the Joysticks is the best. Up to 6 things they will address. Tell all your friends and settle in. Between the Joysticks now begins.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 107. Ah! Oh, well, scared.
Sorry, something came over me.
Of the best video game podcast in the world, Between the Joysticks. I'm your host, Nick, and that scream you heard is from John. He looks okay, but are you okay?
Emotionally or physically? Yes, I'm good both ways.
Yeah, is your mental health in a good spot?
No, I'm hopefully people have picked up on my sense of humor. I'm very self-deprecating. Trust me, I'm okay. I'm okay. You know, some days I might be a little more negative than others, but feeling good today.
You did have an extended family vacation since we last recorded, and so you weren't.
What does
playing.
that word even mean,
Oh.
Nick? What does it even mean?
I actually do. I keep forgetting to follow up on you because you texted me about your portal.
Yeah.
Was it so it was working while you were there?
So I texted Nick. I was like, dude, the portal's a fucking beast, right? So when I got to the hotel, connected it to the internet there, and then immediately connected. And I was playing Danganronpa like breezy, easy. Everything was great. Played it for like 20 minutes, and then my kids needed something, so I kind of shut it off. Went back to connect, and I couldn't get it to find it again. Not to say that it didn't work for the rest of the trip, but it was like I would always have to probably do like 2 or 3 connects before it's like finally took it. But yeah, for a device that is incredibly niche in what it does, like for somebody who's just on the road a lot and does have access to Wi-Fi, it's pretty dope, man. Like that I can just have access to my PS5 from this hotel room. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's weird that it works.
Yeah. It just
like, how is it finding your PlayStation?
Well, everything has an IP address, right? And I don't know if it's maybe a little bit better because I took pal of the show Jake's advice and static IP'd it, so like it just has a dedicated thing. But
right,
yeah, the internet's a crazy fucking beast, man. Yeah, it's a really, really wild thing. But no, it I would say like it didn't. After that initial text of you, it didn't blow my hair back like I think my text kind of made it seem.
Right.
But it was still like something. I was like, I'm glad I brought it. I'm glad it's here. It's not a regretful purchase.
Okay.
Yeah.
That thing's pretty sweet.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, who would have thought?
But
other than that, your trip go well?
Yeah, my Levi, my son, he got a nice little up north tournament in. Played only 3 games. He was supposed to play more than that. There was some rain and stuff, but
now people are definitely going to know we're Midwesterns up north.
Up north, yeah, we're up north. Well, yeah, if you're a regular Sherlock Holmes, I'm sure you can probably get us within 25 miles probably at this point. But I think that's okay personally. But so there's a little bit of rain, but we stayed at a really nice like resort type thing that kind of doubles as a ski resort in the winter, golf in the summer. So like a big pond with like kayaks and paddle boats and yard games and wiffle ball and soccer nets for the kids. So like it was just nice that you could kind of keep all the kids contained in one spot. They're 8 years old, so when you get into public settings, they kind of tend to scatter and it becomes chaos and stressful for parents.
Yep.
So it was good. My daughters struggled a bit. They did not like being away. This was the first time they've ever slept away from home, besides at my mother-in-law's house. So like they were just uncomfortable and
understandable.
Probably a little eager to get back home. But baseball is the best, so it's okay.
Okay. So you didn't get a lot of video game playing in.
Oh, no. Dude, I brought my book too because like that's been my I've talked about on the show.
I love books on
I
vacations.
read half a page. Like I couldn't even do that. So
Sounds relaxing.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I do this so I can just talk games with my bud.
Yeah,
it's a
you're
little more peaceful.
This is a safe place. You know.
You won't show me where your kids touched you on the stall.
Yeah. All right. So we've been doing it for a few weeks. Again, I'm enjoying it. Internet controversy.
Oh.
So it's been fun because I'm scrolling Twitter anyway.
Okay.
So it's always fun to come across some crazy dumb takes on the internet. So do you have any guesses this time?
Is Kamala Harris black or Indian? That's the controversy. No?
Video game related. Related.
No, I'm drawing blanks this week.
This one involved people they want Game Pass to be $100 a month because
What?
There was this story from the Financial Times that claimed that Warner Brothers their stock is like in a steady decline, and so according to their sources, they say the media giant is looking to offload some of its smaller assets, including its video game studios.
I did read that.
And so, people thought, Xbox, we just got done with Activision Blizzard. Xbox buys Warner Brothers.
Idiots.
And, Warner Brothers is a healthy bunch of studios.
Entity, yeah.
Got Avalanche, who did Hogwarts Legacy, Rocksteady, Suicide Squad and Batman, NetherRealm, Mortal Kombat, Monolith Productions, who's making that Wonder Woman game, but Shadow of Earth, Shadow of Mordor. Yeah. And they just bought Player First Games, the Multiverses team.
Oh, right. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
So, John, is Xbox going to buy Warner Brothers?
No.
No.
I don't. If I were a betting man, I think I could see them picking up a small team that they're kind of connected with in ways, but no, I think Microsoft has to make some money before they go spend
another
some
acquisition.
more billions, because that would be another billions acquisition. And that's not even talking about the idea that do you really want them to have more studios that they're not releasing games with? Like Rocksteady, while once a incredibly valuable studio, is definitely been on a decline.
Right.
And I don't think Microsoft's going to be the one to right that ship, and I don't think anybody can right that ship, maybe. But no, can we just let companies own themselves and let them release games on other platforms, just everywhere?
Right.
Can we just do that?
Yeah. Does everything have to be a merger or acquisition to one giant super company that?
I mean, I
gets antitrusted and ruled a monopoly years later and has to break up anyway.
Yeah, hasn't really worked out yet.
Yeah. But also interesting involving Warner Brothers is that their CEO, David Zaslav.
That guy sucks.
Yeah. He got asked the question about the strategic value of games to Warner Brothers, given its recent uneven performance based on Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. He didn't mention that they're looking to license their properties to other studios.
Interesting.
Is there anything in particular?
I'm really bad about like who Warner Brothers owns.
Right.
I want.
This is pretty much DC.
I want a game made by the Cuphead studio with Looney Tunes.
Yeah, that style.
Yeah, and I can be Bugs Bunny, and I can take a giant hammer and smash somebody, and it does the cartoon thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I want. No, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Do you have any Warner Brothers proproperties written?
One of the top comments was Insomniac does a Batman Beyond game, and I was like, oh my god.
Sure. I don't know much about Batman Beyond, but I know those who were into it love it.
Yeah, it'd just be perfect for them. They could do it no problem.
Let me see. Warner Brothers IP: Terminator, Beetlejuice, Looney Tunes.
Every character in multiverses.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to. So do they?
So a lot of the
Looney Tunes, Parker Family, DC. A Christmas Story. There we
Valuable
go.
IP there.
Yeah, a lot of New Line Cinema. Isn't that like Lord of the Rings in some way? No. Dumb and
No.
Dumber. Austin Powers. The Mask. That says Middle Earth, whatever that. So it must be some weird subsect.
Well, they used to. I thought they used to do Middle Earth because they did all
Yeah.
the games before, but I don't think they do anymore. That's why Gandalf was removed from Multiverses.
Elf, the Will Ferrell movie. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's definitely seems to be like DC is like their big boy, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they look across the aisle at Marvel and just Marvel's handing out their IP
Oh yeah.
left and right. A big Fortnite collaboration was announced over the weekend that they're probably like,
Yeah, now look at I'm
you want to
looking.
make our games? We'll take a percentage of that game.
Yeah, they do have a lot to work with. Looking at, I opened up another tab of their picture franchises, and you got things from the Batman and Blade Runner to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Ocean series and Harry Potter, Willie. Lots of stuff.
But what would make good video games?
I'm sticking with Looney Tunes. I'm like legit though.
I want a Chocolate Factory game where you have to manage the Chocolate Factory.
where you have to make sure the kids aren't somehow dying by weird
Right.
ways or getting
Right.
sent to the taffy stretching plant.
Got to boss around a bunch of Oompa Loompas.
That would be. I mean, you could. That
probably
is a-
does exist on like cell phone or something.
Yeah, but whenever we talk about this kind of stuff, we mean a good one, right? Right? Like, I don't care if it exists. I want a good one. But no, I think my answer, like, not even trying to be funny or anything, just Looney, like a Bugs Bunny. Maybe this dates me a little bit. He still is like the cartoon character to me. Like, I don't think any kids feel that way anymore. I don't
No.
think even any teenagers and young 20-year-olds feel that way anymore.
No, not a chance.
I don't know if like it was our parents that kind of were like the last bastion of pushing Looney Tunes onto their kids, because like I can't get my children to watch it at all.
Right.
But
Yeah,
Daffy Duck
we had our
and Bugs
Space
Bunny.
Jam. That was
yeah, that
what
probably
really,
helped a lot.
Really put it in our face. But even for us, they weren't as relevant.
No, my parents would like just put on the old ones and be like, no, we're watching Rabbit Season or
Right,
whatever, like
right.
one of these classic Elmer Fudd
Right.
Bugs Bunny ones. But yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, yeah, that's actually off the cuff. That's a pretty good answer. I mean, definitely that those things would marry very well together. The Cuphead studio, I forget their name,
MDHR.
and their art style with with Looney Tunes.
We'll get it
would
in
be
17 years.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
they're just-
All hand drawn.
They're so good at what they do, but yeah, it's not easy.
Okay, well, yeah, that's all I got. Obviously that's not going to happen, but
Yeah.
People like to post their horrible takes on the internet,
Yeah,
and we're
no.
gonna focus on them.
Yeah, just let the IP go. Let everybody make some money, make some good games with the right partners, and everybody wins. That's the move. That's the move.
Exactly. Have people pitch you a game, and then you let go. Oh, that would make a great Batman Beyond game. Here you go.
Yep.
You got the license. So, all right, that's all I got. Unless you got something.
Do I ever?
No, never. All right, so let's move into how the show works. John and I can both bring up the 3 topics to talk about. It can be a news item. We got quite a bit of news. Tango Gameworks is saved. Meta closes ready at dawn. A Borderlands movie is out, and is it good? And Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick has some comments about Game Pass that are very interesting. It can be a topic. We're gonna take a look back at the inFamous franchise this episode. I have superheroes on the brain, and we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of the last product in that series. So
That's wild. You started that sentence and you're like 10-year. Oh, it's the 10-year anniversary since inFamous. Oh no.
yeah, exactly. The time flies, my man.
Yeah. Probably, what was the first? The first one was what? Probably 2007.
I know, right? It can be a game we're playing. I got a game that I've been playing that's going to shake everyone to its core. I'll leave it at that.
Can't get Nick to. Well, we'll save it.
But it can also be something from you. You can comment on our YouTube page. That's at Between the Joysticks. You can send us a message on Twitter. That's at JoysticksPod. And finally, you can email us as well. You can email us at betweenthejoysticks@gmail.com, just like pal of the show Jesse did.
Hey.
We have an email from Jesse, and he's got a EB game story for us.
Ooh, love these. Okay.
All right. Hey, guys. I have a big collection of games that I've never played and never will play. Most include old live service games, and others are just games that I picked up when they're on sale. I traded in 16 games.
Wow.
And got $120 USD. That seems low.
Yeah, it seems low, but if these are games that don't warrant his time, I'd be curious what that list was. You know what I mean? Like if he's got Anthem,
Yeah.
you know, like what is that, 12 cents? but yeah, it's of course it's always low.
It's funny that you mentioned Anthem. I don't know if you see in Reddit now, it'll suggest other subreddits for you.
Yeah.
And it was suggesting like a bunch of old games like Sleeping Dogs and Anthem. And those got like recent posts with recent people talking about them. I'm
Really?
like, who's playing Anthem in 2024? But sure enough, there's people commenting on that game.
I bought that game for $3 physical. I can't get rid of it. Like I went to like it's literally 1 penny at GameStop to trade it in. So like you know they're just like I guess we'll throw it away.
Right.
So it's like I can't bring myself to just throw away a game, but I feel like it.
Right.
I was like, I should just try this for a second. But
One day you'll just bundle it all these games on like eBay or something and just throw it in there.
yeah,
You
that's
know?
about all you can do.
Yeah, Jesse, we're curious as to what that list of games are. If you have the time to let us know, because 16 games, that's a lot. That's a big chunk.
Maybe
He
they're
also-
sports games.
He also went to trade in a brand new DualSense that I've never used, but they only offered me $15, so I took that one back.
Yep, good call. I was gonna say I've looked at that myself.
When I went, the guy gave me a disgruntled look and really didn't want to trade them in, and got even more grumpy when I asked if I could look around for something to spend the money on.
Can I spend my money here?
Isn't that always the
store
worst?
or not?
Yeah. Are you working? I always hate that. I avoid a specific GameStop because I had a similar, just terrible experience with a shitty employee. And even there's a local convenience store that's around our area. I remember he was outside smoking and got mad at me when I pulled up, and I'm like, I'm never coming to 7-Eleven again.
Yeah.
I don't like this interaction at all. He ends on, I ended up pre-ordering Astrobot for $75 and putting the rest towards the Astrobot controller. So bring on the 6th of September. Thanks, guys.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
We'll be right there with you on the 6th. Not with the controller, but with the game.
Yeah, neither of us ended up getting it. I just can't bring myself to pay it. I for a third working controller, and I'm the only one in my house that really plays a game.
It'd be my 5th.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I have a lot of self-control issues, but that was a bridge too far.
Right.
If one of mine break and down the road, if these are, if it's limited in the sense that it's like, or it's unique and like they're still going to have them for purchase, like that's definitely the next one I want.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, hard to justify for no reason.
Right. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I love Astrobot. That's September 6th. I'll be playing it, but it's not like. There's other franchises that I would be.
If there was a dope ass Wolverine controller,
right.
You're there.
When Insomniac's Wolverine has its controller, I would be there. So.
Good call. Probably will. Spider-Man got one.
So yeah, thanks for writing in
Thanks,
as
Jesse.
always, Jesse. All right,
Good
John.
job at the Olympics, New Zealand. I read that they had the most golds per capita of like population. So
really?
Yeah, there's like 1 gold for every like 1.8 million people or something. I don't know. Something dumb. Or no, it was like
One of the weird
1.8 gold.
statistics.
1.8 golds for every million people, I think is what it was. Yeah.
The Olympics are so weird.
They are.
Like that pole vaulter for
With the big bulge?
no, not him. The guy that actually won and set the record.
Yeah.
He's just from America.
Yeah, he was born in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, but since
I
his
think
mom
it has
is
some,
from.
I was about to say, I think it has something like if you can prove that your parents are also of
Right.
nationality, you can like play
Yeah.
with it. I know the basketball player like Joel Embiid, who's on the United States team, born in Cameroon. He's like Haitian, but he somehow figured out a way to be. He's like, well, I want a gold medal. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
so, but yeah, Olympics are silly.
All right. Let's get into more video game talk. John is bringing our first topic. He's going to be doing the news roundup this go around because, as we mentioned, Quite a bit of news.
Yes. So buckle up, Nicholas. I have a tendency to
Got my seatbelt
over-explain
on.
and talk. So
You're good.
we're going to start with a very positive one. Nick mentioned this earlier, but back in early May, Microsoft made one of its most controversial calls involving the Xbox brand when they shut down beloved developers Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks. Perhaps not shocking from Arcane Austin's viewpoint, as Redfall was a failure top to bottom, but it was especially shocking to see Tango Gameworks included in that list, as it was coming off of Hi-Fi Rush, which was received incredibly well critically and had reached many millions of players on Game Pass, as they love to always tell us. But good news is they seem to have been saved, Nick. It seems like somebody swooped in and decided that, you know what, this is too good of a studio to just die. And that happens to be the publishers of PUBG, Krafton. So seemingly right now it seems like Tango is saved, but going back to the closure of this studio originally, head of Xbox Game Studios Matt Booty told employees of the studio, which joined Microsoft under Bethesda parent company ZeniMax, that the cuts were a result of reprioritization of titles and resources. And another executive, Aaron Greenberg, said on Twitter that Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for Xbox and its players in all key measurements and expectations. We were told that at that time the team would be shutting down entirely, much to the chagrin of gamers around the world, but they were, in fact, picked back up, along with the Hi-Fi Rush IP. And yeah, they're there, man. They're there. So, this is one of those examples of a story that has a bright, happy ending. You wouldn't think, but it does take a team like Tango Gameworks to be as high profile for somebody to come and do that. A lot of smaller teams that just maybe it's not worth it or whatever the case may be. But what are your thoughts, Nick? Tango, I know you weren't the biggest fan of Hi-Fi Rush. It was not your jam. I don't know if you've played either of the Evil Withins or Ghostwire Tokyo. So
Nope.
they are a studio that is not probably high on your list.
No.
But, what are your takeaways from this?
Where did this come from? Like that was the crazier part. Like you said, they were closed in early May. It's 3 months later.
Yeah.
You thought the studio was down. I think they even had a video of their final tour of the studio, and to have like this just kind of come out of nowhere, that they were able, that a deal with Microsoft was made, not only for the studio but the Hi-Fi Rush IP, and they just mentioned that one too, which is also weird. Mm. But I guess I don't know, like how much are the other IPs worth?
Well, and that's just the one that got all the buzz in the media, right? Like, it was always about Tango and Hi-Fi. It seemed to just always be that way. But yeah, I mean, I do agree. It's like 3 months, since closure. But if there's one thing if there's one thing I know about business, which is not, I don't know anything about business, but shit takes a while, right? So I would imagine they swooped in right when this was announced to be like, hey, we're interested. Let's work out some dealings. Let's work it out, and then they can announce it here later. So.
Right, and we don't know how much. We don't know, like.
Yeah. No, it's still definitely in its infancy in terms of like the specifics coming out, but it seems like it's a wholesale, right? Like, like everything that was here, if you had a job at Tango, you can now be employed through Krafton. I'll be interested to see if they try to let them just do what they do. If I don't know how PUBG is one of the most successful games of all time. It's like the 4th best seller ever, but I think it's kind of a dog shit game personally. But I know it's not meant for me. So hopefully they just kind of let them stay to the side. But it's kind of an unprecedented thing, at least from what I can think of. But very positive.
Right? Yeah. Like I said, I wish there were more details about this, but it seems like they want to make more Hi-Fi Rush, so that's what's going to be happening. I was going to say, the next question was so is Hi-Fi Rush 2 what's currently the first thing? We're going to knock that out and then go from there, or should they go a new IP? What would you do? I mean, since they said that they're so like in all the articles, it's like we bought the Hi-Fi Rush IP. I don't think you announced that without plans to go forward with it. So I wonder. Yeah, I wonder if I wonder if because one thing I didn't like the game that very much, but the world is very well realized. I wonder if they will turn it into other projects, not just a sequel, Hi-Fi Rush 2, but maybe like a gacha game like Zenless Zone Zero, but set in the Hi-Fi Rush world. So
yeah, you could definitely. It's a weirdly small condensed game
Right.
for like kind of how popular it is. Like you're in this one location, kind of dealing with these 4 mini bosses, and that's it. So yeah, you could definitely expand that out. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting for me, as somebody who did really like Hi-Fi Rush, and while I didn't necessarily need more of it, I'll be there for it. And I really wonder, like, Tango was kind of almost known as a horror studio for a long, long time, right? And when Hi-Fi Rush was announced, they're like, oh, Tango's making that? That's weird. But I wonder with the popularity of it, the way that this is kind of structured and talked about, it's like if Krafton's like, hey, don't worry about the evil within. Just we're gonna let Capcom and Resident Evil can have that.
Right.
Like, you make us like more music-based, colorful, pop, vibrant things, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to follow them going forward.
You didn't mention, Krafton also owns Striking Distance Studio that did the Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
So they've already tried their hand at what the Evil Within was doing in the first place, and to no success there. So maybe they are like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But any other thoughts about the the Krafton Hi-Fi Rush deal?
No, I imagine it'll be a minute before we hear anything about this ever since, as far as like their next game and all that. Because again, Hi-Fi Rush just came out last year, just released on PlayStation.
Everything up, yeah.
And they just now they thought it was over, and now it's spun up again. So how many people are returning? I know the creative director on Hi-Fi Rush, Johan Johannes, is coming back. So
such a good
name. Yeah, I just want to be that guy.
Nicholson.
Yeah, I want to be that guy. Raised in New York, learns Japanese, goes to work, and makes video games in Japan.
You're not cool enough.
No, not that. I'm not that motivated enough, unfortunately. Yeah, I have a feeling it'll be a few years before we hear anything from them.
Cool.
So
sure,
but
well,
good news.
On the complete flip side, one-time Sony second-party partner, makers of The Order 1886, God of War, Chains of Olympus, and the standalone Daxter game, Ready at Dawn, is set to be shut down by its owner, Meta. Acquired in 2020, they are the team behind the high-quality VR game Lone Echo, which received an 89 on OpenCritic, and Lone Echo 2 at an 83. The shutdown is effective immediately. As for why Meta is shutting down the studio, here is what Android Central had said. One report in mid-July said that Meta was cutting its Reality Labs division's budget by 20% by 2026, and an internal memo sent to Meta employees by Geo Hunt, VP of Oculus Studios, supports this reasoning. A Meta spokesperson told Android Central that the cuts weren't being made to save money per se. Rather, these cuts were being made to ensure that Reality Labs stays within the new budgetary restraints or constraints, and that Oculus Studios can make a better long-term impact in VR development. When asked for more details, Meta spokesperson Elena Lazuski declined to comment. In a most recent earnings, Meta said that Reality Labs division, which its VR efforts fall under, lost nearly $4.5 billion.
Glad you brought that part up.
Yes, that's the reason. There it is. So, yeah, I mean, Ready at Dawn, one time was very closely linked to the PlayStation brand. I mean, at one point, Sony trusted them enough to give them the keys to the God of War franchise, to give them a high-profile second-party release with The Order 1886. Neither of those two games lit the world on fire, but even something like Daxter was in a first-party world. So, there was at one point I remember thinking that they could be a potential acquisition target, but they kind of just went away to go do their own thing. But no, not gonna be doing this anymore, unless if Krafton wants to buy them, in which case maybe they'll save the whole team again. But
Right.
Yeah, you have any love, any familiarity with the Ready at Dawn team, Nick?
I did play Daxter, and I did play Chains of Olympus.
Ooh, and I play The Order, so we got it all covered.
I don't know if maybe I played Ghost of Sparta too. I don't remember those days.
Yeah.
I had a PlayStation Portal for a very brief time, so
Yeah,
I wasn't playing too many games. But
you missed The Order, huh?
yeah, again, I didn't own a PlayStation 4
right.
until 2017.
That's right. I forgot you made the wrong choice at every generation until this one.
Yeah. Well, it was a birthday gift, so I didn't make the choice. So I got an Xbox So
everybody did who had an Xbox at launch.
but no, I never touched the Order 1886. I mean, I know it reviewed very poorly.
Yeah, it felt more like a tech demo. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of at this point, you know, how everybody feels about it. Super short, 6 hours. Really cool ideas, cool world, but just dog shit gameplay. Wasn't fun. Felt boring. You know, but I remember seeing that first trailer for it with like the lightning shotgun thing. I'm like,
yes, I do remember the trailer.
This looks dope, and so it was kind of a disappointment. But you know, it did seem like they really found their footing in the VR world. Like I said, Lone Echo sitting at an 89. That's really, really, like, there's not many VR titles like I can think of. Half-Life Alyx and Asgard's Wrath too, but you know, that's up there with those experiences. So you know, maybe there's some world where if Sony does somehow still believe in PSVR 2, it doesn't seem like they do.
No.
But maybe there's some talent you could at least scoop up. But you know, I don't really have much more to say about them. They've always been kind of a studio that I know, and I know what they've done. But you know, if I see their logo or anything like that, I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's got Fire Sprite, so they could definitely pick up some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if the talent is there, you know, I'm sure it can make it work. But let's keep this negative train going, though, Nick. All right, so Borderlands. Let's talk some Borderlands.
Yeah.
You know, usually when you talk Borderlands, you want to talk about video games, but we, over the past week, have finally seen the release of the Borderlands movie, which was initially you know what year that was initially announced, Nick?
I know it was a long time ago.
2015.
Holy shit.
Originally announced in 2015. So the movie has been released, and while most people weren't probably incredibly excited for it or hyped, many people were hoping, you know, this would be a movie that would continue this video game renaissance in the cross-media space, you know, with The Last of Us being so good and Uncharted being serviceable, like not as bad as I think people would say.
Mario Brothers movie.
Mario being okay. Gran Turismo was kind of a miss, but even not that bad. You know, we're hoping that the Borderlands would continue it, you know, starring Kevin Hart, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jack Black, Cate Blanchett, Eli Roth at the helm. You would think that this has everything cooked up to be an awesome movie, but unfortunately, if The Last of Us made incredible strides to legitimize video games in this space, Borderlands seemed to wipe all that out in one weekend. Sitting at a hearty 9% on the Rotten Tomatoes score with 121 reviews. We got a bona fide bomb on our hands, Nick. Bona fide bomb. And it's not just critically as well, commercially. This movie made approximately $1.3 million around its opening weekend. $8 million on its opening weekend with a budget of $110 to $120 million total. So she ain't making her money back. This is not going to start a movie franchise. This is a mess all around. One of my favorite reviews says, "This isn't just a bad video game adaptation. It's a bad movie, full stop. I don't know that there's a director alive who could have saved this malodorous ode to poor dialogue, pacing, and action." Another review stating, "Nothing that works about the games has been adapted intact in this ugly, boring, truly inept piece of filmmaking." You seeing the Borderlands movie, Nick? You gonna go see it?
I will not see it in theater, but I
kind of want to watch it with you when it comes to streaming. Yeah,
I think we were talking, and which will be very soon now.
Yeah.
That now I'm just curious because it's that bad now,
Yep.
and we're familiar with the property itself. So
yeah, it's almost better that it's like a 9% than it's like a 35
Right.
or something. You know, it's like what you want to see the train wreck. You want to see
right
what
because
happened.
it has like this big cast, and you know we talked about the Super Mario Brothers movie. Jack Black is in this as Claptrap.
Yeah.
You have Kevin Hart, who's successful in movies in the past. You have Cate Blanchett, who's one
of the greatest actresses in the world.
Right. So it's like, how in the world did this bomb so bad? And just Borderlands franchise is one of the top-selling franchises of all time. 85 million copies.
Crazy.
And they couldn't show up this weekend to see the movie.
Well, as one of those 75 million or whatever number you just said. 85. Yeah, I just want loot. You know what I mean? I don't care about the vault and why Pandora is what it is, and so.
But the game's always had like its weird sense of humor and Catch a Ride and all kinds of.
Well, it's funny.
Part of
say
its
that.
charm is the silliness of it all, the silly guns, the silly bosses and all that stuff.
Well, and I did try to look into what is it about this that is missing for people, right? Obviously,
Right.
Nick and I haven't seen it, so we can't speak on a personal level, but a couple bullet points did seem to kind of keep popping up. One big one, as you just alluded to, there was a big reduction in the dark comedic tone of it. It seems like it was much more just like run-of-the-mill, standard, cringy jokes coming instead of like the dark comedy that you I think if you've played through those games, you kind of know. Lack of violence, which
That's weird.
Yeah, which isn't going to be like make or break. If you got a good narrative in there, you can probably get away with it. But like, I think this movie is one of those examples of it probably should have just been rated R. Like you probably should have done that. You can go lean into the violence of it. You can lean into like swearing or Handsome Jack is I don't think he's even in this movie, but like. That type of villain that can just be crass.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's the end credits. Like,
probably.
tease.
Hey, we're going to tease him into the next one.
Yeah, PG-13. Huh?
But like, that kind of character thrives off of being crass and saying shit and talking shit to everybody. So like you kind of can't dance around that. But I think the biggest reason, as I mentioned in the very beginning here, this was announced almost a decade ago, right? In that time, Borderlands went through various different hands, especially in terms of screenwriters. All in all, Borderlands had about 7 different screenwriters over the course of its development, including Last of Us showrunner Craig Mazin, who asked to get his names off of the credits a year ago. That was literally the moment I go, oh no, like something's fucked with this. But ultimately, the lack of stability could have been the reason why Borderlands felt so lifeless once it hit the big screen after just going through so many iterations.
It's crazy when you have 3 games and just, like you said, how would you not just adapt Borderlands 2?
Yeah, 2 is the one you focus on.
And just because then you have that charismatic villain. And I really do not know what the plot of this one is. I know they're bringing in.
I know it has something to do with
a lot
the
of
vault.
the characters, Roland and Tiny Tina, and a lot of the characters that were Songbird or whatever her name was.
We got an updated number on Box Office Mojo. It just passed 10 million worldwide, Nick.
Oh wow!
We got 8.6 million domestic and 1.7 international. But yeah, this is going to be one that I think everybody involved is going to try and just not talk about it in their careers. It's hilarious to me that Cate Blanchett, I don't know, 5-time Oscar-nominated actress, won it a couple times. But even like Halle Berry, I think famously won the Oscar the same year she did Catwoman.
Right.
So she accepted her Razzie with her Oscar in hand, which is just a dope move. So everybody has these, but it's a bummer. Were you excited for were you hoping it was good, or were you just like whatever?
Like I said, I don't have the attachment to the franchise. I would have probably just always waited till it got to streaming to watch it,
unless it was like, hey, this is like Mad Max Fury
Road. Right.
You know.
But it never looked that way. So
yeah.
There's probably no chance opening weekend for me.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned. When that comes to streaming, Nick and I maybe we'll
yeah, we have to.
Yeah, we'll watch it and just trash all over it. Because why not?
Yeah.
All right. And then lastly, this is a small story, but it's just kind of one of those candid comments that you can't help but chuckle at a little bit and appreciate the candidness of it. But Strauss Zelnick had some interesting comments over the past week regarding Game Pass. So this fall, we will finally be ready to see what a release of a juggernaut type game like Call of Duty will do to the service of Game Pass. Does it change the landscape and grow the service that Microsoft hopes for? Will it provide a short-term boost but fall back to flat, or will it not move the needle much at all? We don't really know, but since the Activision Microsoft merger deal, everybody has waited for this day to come, except for it seems like Strauss Zelnick. When talking to GameIndustry.biz recently, Zelnick stated that the idea of bringing such a huge title, talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 also. That's why this conversation got started, right? It's like, would you ever see Grand Theft Auto 6 potentially doing this? Right. I laugh. Nick laugh. That's the right response.
There's no amount of money in the world you could pay to get Grand Theft Auto on any subscription service.
Oh. But yeah, Zelnick stated that the idea of bringing such a huge title on day one of Game Pass is irrational. Take-Two has previously contributed to Xbox's subscription service by adding legacy titles, yet the company doesn't seem to be a big fan of adding brand new AAA titles to it. He also stated that there will be no changes in Take-Two's stance no matter what Microsoft is doing, and I quote, "No, it won't affect our decisions because our decisions are rational." Mic drop. And he's always kind of had that stance, right? He's always kind of said, adding titles onto the service will push subscriptions, but he is one of those at what cost things. And what I find interesting about this comment, when you hear a lot of the discussion and discourse around the economics of the video game industry, what's best for companies, how do we prevent people from laying off? If there's one guy that probably knows the intricacies and the negatives and all that kind of stuff, where he's not pulling from personal emotion how I feel about a specific brand, but like as a business, like
Right.
It's that guy. It's Strauss Zelnick, right? It's a CEO of one of the big major publishers. It's an Yves Guillemot. It's a Bobby Kotick. And in fact, Bobby Kotick, I think he kind of talks shit about game. We've talked about that on the show. So just another example of of Game Pass being a good value and a good service for people who don't play, maybe in the traditional sense, but it does not make sense in the long term for the health of the industry. What do you think about what Strauss has said, Nick?
No, he's right. It's you cannot. There's no. Game Pass is not paid for a big title outside of their in-house studios to be on Game Pass day one. I'm trying to even think of the bigger game.
Liza P?
Yeah, exactly. Last year, I think with Liza P would have been the biggest, and that's kind of a debut game from like
Wolong.
Mm-hmm.
Had that one.
The fall of.
Yeah, what was that? Wolong the Fallen Order? That's not it. I don't know.
It was the other.
I know.
Souls-like that came out early last year in February.
Fallen Dynasty.
Yeah.
Wow, you were close. I wouldn't if you said Fallen Dynasty. I'd be like, no, that's not it.
So because they can't afford it. I mean, you got to make up day one sales of a traditional $70 game. It's impossible for them to pay that.
Yeah.
They don't want to. They won't get their money back in subscriptions for that.
What's
again? Yeah. Well, for Grand Theft Auto 6, it would be tens of billions of dollars.
Oh yeah, to
get it on Game Pass day one.
Grand Theft Auto 5 just passed 200 million sold, and while obviously all of those are not at the $60 base price point, I mean, that's 200 million. Even if you sold those at $20 a pop,
right?
That's what, 40 million? No, 4 million, 4 billion, 4 billion. Just right there, not including. I don't know if there'd be any deals with shark cards and things like that, but yeah, it's it's fine. It's whatever. It's just we're gonna keep beating that drum of buy games, guys. Like if you want a healthy industry, if you want the continuation of things that you enjoy, go out and support the things you enjoy because.
And I mean, this is it for Game Pass. I mean, we talked about this with the price increases. Like now is the time because they should have a constant stream of games. Black Ops 6 and Indiana Jones into Avowed into a Fable and the South of Midnight next year. That will these have an effect on Game Pass? Will we see a huge percentage increase in subscribers a year from now?
Yeah. Well, and if they're smart, to your point, they need to make sure their ducks are real tight in a row right after Call of Duty because you're going to get a crazy influx. And if there is not something at the end of that session, they're going to unsubscribe. And that doesn't mean they're not going to come back. But every time you unsubscribe, it's a little harder to resubscribe.
Right.
So, you got to be pulled in by the right property. And you get somebody who goes, I don't know about Avowed. No, I'll wait for the next one.
Right.
I don't know, I'll wait for the next one. And you're just going to start. So I agree. They need to make sure that their shit's tight after that. But I want a gut check from you, Nick. Do you think that Call of Duty has a 1 year after, or let's say 6 months. 6 months after Call of Duty drops on the Game Pass, do you think it maintains a positive do you think it's still increasing or it went up and then goes flat again?
Oh man, I don't know. I really don't. Yeah. I don't. The strength of the Call of Duty brand is one of the strongest IPs out there. I don't know. I really don't.
Because
It should.
It should. I do think we're going to see a big spike and probably a slight drop off, and then it just kind of steadily declines again. Not steadily declines, but goes back and settles around this 30 million.
Well, there's always these other interesting factors too. Is like how well is this Call of Duty going to review? Like how popular will it be?
Yeah, if
will
it's like last year's.
right.
Last year's was what, a
right.
50
and
something?
then all the Game Pass games following it, Indiana Jones Avowed. If you start getting if you get a big miss in there,
If you get a couple Hellblade 2s, like again, I know there was a lot of people that liked that game, but that game fucking sucked.
you're definitely going to see a decrease. And
I want to correct myself. It didn't fucking suck. It was just not for me. That's all.
Didn't set the Game Pass world on fire or the industry as we talked about,
Right.
but it'll be interesting because, like I said, Game Pass really hasn't been given a fair shake because Microsoft has struggled to get consistent cadence of games out year over year. We'll see.
Yeah, Modern Warfare 3 last year, 58. And it's really funny looking at the maker. Like, you know how like on OpenCritic it says like who made the game underneath the title? Activision, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Beanox, Demonware, High Moon Studios, Raven Software, Toys for Bob, 9 studios for a 58. Not that it made all of its money, but
Yeah. Sales do not.
but
And why it reviewed so low is because Microsoft owns them.
oh yeah, it's the tax.
Yeah,
the Microsoft tax.
The bias of
Yeah,
the
Sony released
gaming
that back in
journalist.
92.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got, Nick. You got any other news? Too bad. That's all I got. That's all we're talking about today.
No. That was it. That's all I wanted to talk about. There,
For sure.
a lot of smaller stories, and we're leading up to a big event, so
Well,
there'll be a lot of news.
Oh, Gamescom.
in
Sorry, I
a
thought you
week
were.
from
I thought you
now.
were talking about the potential Sony showcase. I was like, oh, I hope so. I hope so.
No, next week,
Yes.
Gamescom. So, all right. The next thing we're going to talk about, as I mentioned, I got superheroes on the brain. Deadpool and Wolverine is out, and that got me to renew my Marvel Unlimited subscription. So now I'm reading Marvel Comics again, and just superheroes are on my brain big time, especially when we get into our next topic of the game I've been playing. But I wanted to talk about inFamous because that's a franchise that, it was a premier Sony franchise from Sucker Punch. Originally released May 26, 2009. And it's actually celebrating, its 10th anniversary since we've had a game. inFamous First Light was released on August 26th of 2014, the same year as inFamous Second Son. And it is a superhero franchise. In the first two games, you play as the Conduit. They're not mutants; they're conduits in this. Cole McGrath, who has electricity powers, and I think in the second game you can swap powers in that with other people. And then inFamous First Light followed Delson, who's a conduit that can absorb
Second Son.
Second Son. Sorry, what did I say?
First Light.
Sorry. Second Son, which was like a launch PlayStation 4 game, which followed Delson, who could absorb other conduits' powers. So you got a bunch of abilities by the end of that game. But just the gut check first, John. What do you think of this franchise? Did you play all the games?
I have not played 2. I've played.
Okay.
I played 1. I played Second Son. I played First Light. But for some reason I missed 2. I don't know why. Because I really like the first one. There would be no reason to skip it. I don't.
That's just probably whatever period in your life.
Yeah, I think I remember renting it and then the weekend escaping me and then just never going back. But I think inFamous is great. And I'm not a superhero guy, right?
Right.
I think that's part of the reason why it vibes with me is because it's not grounded. You're doing all this crazy shit, but like you're just kind of a dude in Seattle. I'm thinking of Second Son right now.
Yeah.
Dude in Seattle, and you kind of just get caught up in this thing, and the powers that you do get are unique and cool and well done and feel just fun to use. Like I think of when I played through that game and I got the video power. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this? Like I can like go inside like little TVs and like shoot myself out and like wouldn't never think that like that's the type of power to structure a game around, right? And I think Second Son had like concrete and light
and smoke
and like that's just so much cooler than like your standard fire, water, electricity, or whatever you normally see. So like that was really, really cool, and I loved how I loved the size of the map. It felt big, but also a little kind of condensed, where you were allowed to use these powers in a fun way on a traversal standpoint,
Yeah.
it's always fun to move faster through a system, like a city that you've been exploring for a while. And so when you get that light power and you're just dashing up, it felt like Spider-Man. So I when I think of this series, obviously Second Son's kind of the one that still sticks with me because it's just more fresh in my mind. I do remember playing through the first inFamous and just having it wasn't by any means the first open world game I played or anything like that, but I remember it having verticality to it and that being something that felt a little refreshing. Where there was that sidekick friend you had who was like kind of an overweight guy with glasses. Zeke, yeah. And I remember going your home base was on the top of a tower or skyscraper or something, and just kind of getting my mission and jumping off and doing something cool, whether I'm landing and exploding or. And then and just doing little pew 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 at guys when you're because it does kind of function as a machine gun kind of when you want to shoot little lightnings at the dudes. Yeah, just a fun. It's just it's when you think of a video game, right? That's what I think of. Yeah, holistic video game. Yeah, I think you touched on a lot of the great points. First of all, it's a power fantasy. Yep. You do crazy things. I always remember. Whatever Delson, when he would he would shoot up in the sky and you zoom in on his face and then he would come down and just wreak havoc on everything. Yeah. And then just a great use of the environment. Like you said, every ability you got, smoke, you could go in drain pipes and come up the top because you just would turn into smoke. And then neon. Sorry, it's neon, not light. That's my bad. No, you're good. So it's a lot the same. But yeah, it also sorry, this just popped in my head. I'm looking at absorbing the different environmental things to I need electricity. And you go up to a car and yep. So it felt good every time. Yeah. So whatever ability you use, you could to refill your quote unquote ammo or heal yourself. You had to absorb that element. So if a car was on fire, you could absorb all the fire because you're smoke. Or all the signage for all the digital and neon-based powers. Just a great use of the environment overall for just not just traversal, but just for ammo and stuff that just made sense with the lore of the universe. It felt really good to get into a big fight and kind of be on your heels and be like, oh shit, I'm out, and have to go find something, suck it up, deal with people. And this is at least Second Son, a game with two of the greatest voice actors ever, Troy Baker and Laura Bailey, at the helm. So, you're going to get a good performance there. I will say I don't know if the stories are that great. I remember there was the bad guy in Second Son. She had the concrete power too, and she could just be mean about it. She'd be mean to everybody. Well, yeah, she ran the group that would round up all the conduits and then imprison them. Yeah. It is very X-Men-y, isn't it? What did you think of the other element of this franchise was always the light versus dark playthroughs. So you would get to these moments and you had a light and dark option. And weirdly enough, they were kind of it didn't make sense to go back and forth because you would level up your light side or your dark side and unlock even more abilities. So it was kind of a pointless thing. You were just either locked into your evil run or locked into your light run. But did you have fun doing the evil? It's a system that I appreciate it being there. It's always more fun to have different abilities, to have varied abilities. I don't care if there's a narrative reason behind that or not. If they do different things, I want to try them. So I don't think there was never a point where I'm like, what do? I don't know what to do. It's okay, it was always, I think I got I know I got the platinum in Second Son. I wasn't a platinum trophy hunter with the first ones, but it was I did the one playthrough and then I just did the next one just to do it. Right. Pretty weak on that standpoint. Yeah. But again, just because it allowed me to have different powers. Right. It's like when you play an old, I remember playing through an old school Star Wars game, Jedi, Sith powers, different things. I just, usually you want Sith because those are cooler. Right. But, well, that was the kind of the neat part of the again, you could play through it again. And if you were evil, the powers were more destructive, more blast, larger explosions, while the light side was pinpoint because you didn't want to cause collateral damage. Yeah. So that was the kind of a cool thing to do, but it was so, like I said, the choices were so cartoonish This is a fun conversation for me because like I just continuously have things popping in my head that I forgot about. Like I remember running through the streets when I was like a bad guy and just like punching every single person I walked next to, and like, oh, what are you doing? Or just relentlessly like just like doing the ground pound on one guy. Just 'cause, I don't know. Yeah. Are you really mean to NPCs in games? I'm usually really mean to NPCs in games.
No,
You're not. I remember in college, I really upset one of my roommates because we were playing the like original Halo for some reason, and I just immediately started shooting my other fellow Marines. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know." They're just sitting there doing nothing.
Oh, you heartless bastard.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't raise children.
No. But yeah, those light and dark playthroughs, yeah, would mean your like little side missions would be different too. Because I remember like there'd be like protests against conduits, and if you're evil, you could your mission was like to destroy them. Or
oh yeah,
or even I think there was a silly one like a street musician, and if you fucked with him, that was like a part of the evil
really?
playthrough. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, stuff like that. And I know I remember you could pin people to the ground too. You could just tie them up basically.
Yeah.
Using your powers to the ground. So we know, Sucker Punch has since moved on. Obviously, they haven't touched the franchise in 10 years. They're working on. Everyone just presumes a sequel to their very successful Ghost of Tsushima franchise, which is also, speaking of movies, is also getting a film adaptation. Would you rather they be back on inFamous?
No.
Do you like Ghost of Tsushima more?
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. I think they're both like 9s. They're both like 9s.
Yeah.
But 8, 9 is somewhere like that. So I think you would have to just like on a given day, depending on my mood,
right,
when I want to play. But I will say I hope they don't abandon this franchise forever.
No, that's.
I hope that whether I don't. It just sucks how long games take to make now, where it's like, yeah, I would love to see them go back to inFamous after Ghost of Tsushima 2, but it's like I would also love to see them do new things. But you kind of can't have your cake and eat it too. So whether it's Sucker Punch that continues it or gets shepherded by some other team, I think it is a franchise worth keeping. It fits well. You could also make an argument though that Spider-Man kind of takes the
that's the unfortunate
space
thing
of it. But I think there's a lot like as graphic like this is a series that could do wonders on a graphical level with what we have now. And Sucker Punch Ghost of Tsushima is already one of the greatest looking games out there. So like, I would love to see what type of particle effects and light effects and things that you can do. Like I already mentioned, the uniqueness of the abilities, see what else they can do with that and make it, you got fireworks or something. I don't fucking know.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I hope it's not dead forever.
Yeah, and going back and then watching inFamous Second Son being played and being like, wow, that game still really holds up visually, but also like, we're kind of on this thing that Uncharted is coming back, but it's not Naughty Dog. It's like, well, couldn't Sony Ben be working on an inFamous game and we're just not even, it's not even like in our brain, like.
Yeah, I mean that's Blue Point is such a nebulous thing too, and I'm not saying that they're, do anything like that. But Sony does have so many teams that we don't know about, so who knows? Yeah.
Well, I remember too, if you remember the last good Sony showcase where they showed Wolverine off, in the intro to the Spider-Man 2 trailer, the first look we got at it was electricity. Of course, it was Miles.
Yeah.
But it was electricity hitting that pole. I remember
you saying that.
And for a brief second, like people were like, oh my God, is it inFamous? Like, are they bringing it back? And, yeah.
Ooh, I just want you to know the thing where Delson comes up into the sky into the camera. It's called the orbital drop.
Yeah,
the orbital drop. Yeah. There's something. You're right. There's something about like this game does look beautiful, and I think of like the Batman games too, where they look unreasonably good. Something about shiny, dark city surfaces with lots of reflections. It looks pretty good still.
Yeah. That's why, Cyberpunk always looks good, too, because there's just so much neon lights and rain, and it's just, But, I kind of like doing this. I think we should revisit more games that existed before the podcast.
I didn't prep for this at all. Like, this was literally just off the top of my head, and that's why it was kind of fun going like, oh yeah, I remember doing all that. Like, kind of going through and messing around with the powers, just running, zipping across the city on the top of roofs with my neon powers and being able to get where I want to go. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I do think the franchise is coming back at some
You
point.
platinumed it, right?
No.
You didn't.
So, going back, I got my PlayStation in 2017 with Horizon Zero Dawn, and I played it that year, and I only did an Evil playthrough. I did not go back. I actually went back and looked at my trophies, and I was like, oh, yeah, I did an Evil playthrough, and it was, the same year I got it initially. So,
Sure. Okay.
So maybe one day I'd go back, but...
I mean, yeah. It's just such a hard proposition when there's so much.
Right. Yeah, there's so many good games to play right now, like the one I'm currently playing.
Yeah, let's hear it, Nick. Let's fucking hear it, bud.
All right, let's move on. This is a superhero episode for sure. So we'll get a little backstory, and this will obviously break what game I'm playing right now. Rocksteady.
Boo.
My history with Rocksteady. If you were to ask me about, 9-10 years ago, what my favorite studio was, it would be probably Rocksteady.
Makers starts with rock.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Makers of the Arkham games. I remember this is also another 2009 franchise when Arkham Asylum was announced, and it was just like my wet dream. I was a big fan of Batman the Animated Series, and when you're telling me Kevin Conroy is returning as Batman, Mark Hamill is the Joker, it's being written by Paul Dini, who wrote the show, you're just like, what?
You're saying all the right things.
Yeah.
What's gonna come up and bite me in the ass?
Right, we're right, but it's an unproven studio and all that, and and I remember at the same time there was the Ghostbusters game being announced, and it was technically going to be Ghostbusters 3 before we got Ghostbusters Afterlife. Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, they all came back to do that game, and they both released the same month. And my roommate at the time was a big Ghostbusters fan, and that game was not good at all. But Arkham Asylum was fucking. It was history.
Game of the year contender.
From the free flow combat that made you feel like Batman, you're just doing a bunch of sweet moves, to the Predator sections where you're hiding and using Batman's fear on the enemies, just like he would in the comic books or the show or the movies, and then just a great take on all his rogues gallery, Killer Croc, Scarecrow, Harley Quinn, the Joker, just the perfect take on everything. That game is near perfect. It is a Metroidvania with the best combat on the planet. You're absolutely right on all that. And it's been a game that I want to go back and play. I just had an idea for topics we should do. We should go back in time and do our own Game of the Year awards for specific years that didn't happen. I'm down.
Because I'm looking at 2009. I was like, this is probably obviously your Game of the Year 2009, but it's also the same year that Uncharted 2 came out, Left 4 Dead 2 came out, Assassin's Creed 2 came out, Demon Souls came out. It's like, that'd be kind of fun to see.
Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah. We should do that.
Yeah, all right.
There you go.
We'll remind me.
Okay, sure.
We're gonna make it a topic.
Halo 3.
Yeah, and so that game came out, and then even wildly, the Game Awards that year had a teaser for Arkham City the same year that game came out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was
Different
just like,
time.
yeah, and I was just like, what is going on? Like, this is incredible. Like, I love this game, and I already got to look forward to a sequel, and of course, we know from there that we know the history there. Arkham City comes out, fucking amazing. Arkham Knight comes out, fucking amazing. So one would think, and listeners of the show will know, when Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was coming up, John, I think you famously said, it's not one of your most anticipated, and when we were doing our yearly anticipated for last year. And for some reason, just something always felt off. This is Rocksteady going from a third-person action game, single player, to a multiplayer live service 4-player co-op game. And so, as we've seen with other studios, Arcane Austin, BioWare, that when you pull these teams away and have them try to do something else, or Naughty Dog, with factions, is that they usually don't don't end up well. The results aren't that great. So Suicide Squad came out, and I'm trying to remember. Do you remember what its open critic score was?
I want to say 60 on the nose.
Sorry. I should have had this written down. But Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, 59.
All right. Yeah.
God. What?
It's just that game, like that. It's the whole thing. It's all crazy that you have this license, you have this team. It looks graphically and all that stuff as impressive as it does, and you land at a 59.
Yeah. So here we are. I knew I was going to play it eventually. It was on sale. You know, I've been looking for games to play. I'm like, now's the time. Let's check it out. You know, again, I'm just really digging superheroes right now. So why not check this out? And to what you just said, all that stuff is there. This is a sequel to those three games. It starts out with it's called the Batman Experience, and you kind of walk through a museum of those three games where they recount the events of those games and what has happened since Arkham Knight. So that is here, and then you have all those voice actors returning. You know, you have Kevin Conroy's Batman. You have it's not Arlene Sorkin anymore, but it's Tara Strong's Harley Quinn. You have the world, like when you're standing on a building, just like you would in Arkham Knight or Arkham City, and you're just looking over this crazy, beautiful city with a bunch of things going on. Same thing here. You stand on a building of Metropolis, and it's destroyed everywhere. You have Brainiac tentacles, like robot tentacles moving throughout the city, and you would think, like, this game cannot fail, right? The voice acting, the facial capture, the graphics, they're all there. But the game just sucks to play.
That's my big thing.
Yeah, gameplay is, it's just, you play the same missions versus the same enemies over and over again, whether or not they're defend a point or just kill amount of enemies, or the more frustrating ones where it's like kill an enemy using these specific attacks, like either getting critical hits or just grenades. They'll only die from that, and you're just like, this is not fun at all. like the critical hit ones is frustrating because you have to get up and close to a guy, hit them in the air, and then shoot them, and that's just in a game built around skyscrapers where you're swinging all around or jetpacking or whatever your character you're playing as. And yeah, I should say you pick what 4 characters. Well, now there's 6, but you choose between Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, King Shark, and Harley Quinn, and they all have different traversal abilities, but they all shoot the same guns.
Yep.
So there's no variety really there. I mean, the traversal abilities are nice, but they're all built on cooldowns, which is an odd choice. Like
so like Harley Quinn's like
swing,
you can't just keep using it.
No, you can't keep using it. So you swing once, and then a timer goes on, and you can usually you'll double jump, and by the time you're at your end of your double jump, you can swing again. But after that, you either have to use she has Batman's equipment, so she can grapple a building, or you have to touch the ground before the cooldown.
How did she get Batman's equipment?
They stole it from the Justice League.
Okay.
That's an early plot point.
Yeah.
To get them all set up on their equipment, and all the characters have the same thing. You know, you can't keep jumping as King Shark. He does like these Hulk style like super jumps. They're all on cooldowns.
Just let me fire out of the city. Who cares at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if in playtest people are like, "Oh, I feel too powerful because I can move around all the time," but as we see with games like Spider-Man, it's like,
so
traversal's everything. Like that's should be fun. Getting around your city should be fun to do because you're going to do a lot of it. And
if you have a battle going on and your whole thing is I need to figure out how I want to approach this, but like you can't do that because of a cooldown. That's never good.
Right.
Never.
And just a few more points from like it feeling like an Arkham game. Like you're standing there, and you know how you could usually overhear like villains talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Well, here it's Kevin Conroy's Batman because he's the villain. Like he's constantly talking, and you're just like, it's like nostalgia. And the Riddler is back, like the same Riddler, same voice actor, same mechanics of finding Riddler trophies and doing his challenges or taking photos of his weird riddles. That's in here too. So it's like, oh my god, this is so close. You just had to nail the gameplay, and the gameplay is not fun to traverse
They
in.
just missed it so hard.
And then the game's built around loot, of course.
Yep.
And as I've played probably about 10 hours now, and I've had only one grenade that was fun to use because it was like a casino grenade. Like it could roll like 777s.
Yeah.
So you'd throw the grenade, it would break out into a cluster, and then each of those ones would roll like a slot machine. And if it hit sevens, it'd make a bigger explosion.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like when the effects goes off, it's like visually appealing and all that. But I haven't found another weapon that even remotely comes close to that. They're just pistols. And they're made by different manufacturers.
It's Borderlands style.
Yeah, or really like it reminds me a lot of Destiny. Like Destiny had different yeah, you're right, Borderlands as well. Like different manufacturers, and then those guns meant certain things based on the manufacturer. Like if they're loud or like more explosive based, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just.
It's just gotta be soul crushing because it is like I don't know what a good example for me would be in the same vein, but like.
Well, just
how do you
take any
spend
story developer
8
and just
to
have them
9 years on a game, and you couldn't land on fun story structure or fun mission structure? That should be like
right.
You guys should have been putting on the whiteboards, brainstorming. Okay, we're gonna have these kind of missions. We're gonna have this, and like this is gonna lead into that. And to hear that you got to the end of that 9 years, and we know that this game got rebooted or whatever halfway through, but to put so much solid work into the fringe, right, with the characters and the voice acting and the way it looks, but to not have the heart and engine of this whole thing, to have it just be, it's like driving a Ferrari, but you got the engine of a Ford Focus in there.
Right.
It's like it's not
Right.
it's not going to do anything. Though.
Right.
It just looks nice, and that's it.
Right.
I'm sorry, Nick. I'm sorry that you had to live this reality.
It's not the worst time. Like I said,
no, it's not. But it's not.
Unlike
what it
John,
should be.
the other trappings will get me through, and I'm definitely going to see it to the end. But yeah, it is a disappointment, and it's a challenge. I was even just trying to think like what they could have done. Obviously, traversal should have been entirely reworked. Guns should have been
less guns,
reworked.
but more uniqueness.
Right.
That's all you need with loot systems don't have to be the amount of guns. It's just the variety.
Yeah,
Like, that's
and
all
just
it
the
is.
mission structure is just hard because it's just that you have to have enemies that would work in this.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to, I mean, that is one thing if you reboot a project and you don't go from the ground up for the next thing. You are starting to, corner yourself with certain things the ways it has to be. And it seems like they maybe just
Well, even when you think of like comparables, like the first Descendant, which it's the same thing. It's like that's not fun to me either.
Yeah.
And that game also reviewed very poorly, and it's based around the same structure as this.
But then you played a game like
and same
Diablo.
Anthem too.
Yeah, I don't know. But then like Diablo, is it just because it's just a solid, the move sets are cool.
The
and
basic loop is addicting.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of what this needed to get to. So it definitely needed something like it needed to be flashy or something.
Because like Diablo, right? Mission structure.
No,
It's just go kill hordes. So maybe they're like, well, if it can work for them, why can't it work for us? But yeah, there's just something. Something missing.
And I haven't even seen like the end game stuff because again, this is in the same vein of all these games. It has an end game eventually. I call these incursions, but I don't think I can see that till after the story. But even the boss fights,
I bet I can spoil it for you. I bet they're more of just the same.
right? You're exactly. They really, they're going to be the same, and just with quote unquote beefier enemies. And I don't know. They just.
Do you know where
making games is hard? I wonder when they knew like it's just not working.
Shortly before Sefton Hill left.
Yeah. Or definitely that state of play when they showed that game off and people were just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, blue. What are these purple? So are you shooting purple orbs all over the place?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Any vehicle you fight has purple orbs.
What is the reason of the purple orb? Is there a lore reason?
It's just Brainiac's color. Like the main villain
so
of the game.
Brainiac decided that he was going to provide a very large, bright, weak spot on everything.
Right. Well, yeah, he's like, the enemies are purple. The infected superheroes have purple eyes. It's just a choice.
Brainiac voiced by Jason Isaacs, though. The Malfoy's dad in Harry Potter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it also has Nolan North in there. Deborah
Yeah,
Wilson.
he's the Penguin.
Deborah Wilson's in there.
Yeah.
She's Waller.
Yeah, like I said, all the characters that are returning
Expensive-ass game.
are returning with their original voice actors.
Ugh.
Yeah, because Nolan North was the Penguin for the Arkham games as well. So, yeah, they just if they had to land the gameplay and they just didn't get there, which is insane considering their pedigree.
Right.
But I think when you add in multiple people, that's where all these developers are getting at. It's like Destiny broke the game industry. Like everyone wanted to be Destiny, and then all these games are now learning that you can't be Destiny.
Jerks.
It's not easy, but what does Destiny have going for it? It's core gameplay loop with the guns feel great, the abilities feel great.
Yeah, and I'm sure like each the environments are wildly different. I would imagine you got that, make it feel fresh, make it feel unique, different enemy variety. Yeah, you miss a couple of those. Like it doesn't take much, right? Like video games are a fickle bitch. Like you can have a perfect experience and then you take away 2-3 small pieces and all of a sudden you're like, well, this is weird now.
Right.
So it's not, like you said, and it ain't easy, but if you're a studio with that level of prestige, you have to be able to know that you're I understand at some point it's a cost sink. It's a we can't give you infinite money to figure this out. We have to release a project, but yeah, they missed hard.
Yeah, and unlike First Descendant and Destiny now, those games you can play for free.
Right.
And this game has a buy-in, so and it has all the trappings. It has 2 battle passes right now. Though they do the right thing, the battle passes don't go away, so you can you can choose which one you want to work on.
Sure.
And there's 2 out now, and they've had 2 DLC characters. It'll be
Joker,
interesting to
Joker and who?
Miss Freeze.
Miss Freeze.
Remember we talked about her?
Yeah, I forgot.
You pushed her out of your brain.
I pushed Suicide Squad out of my brain.
Yeah, I know that game came out this year. Yikes. But
are you sorry? I'm imagining you're not comfortable putting a score on this yet.
no, I'm gonna see it through to the end. I'll check out the end game stuff, but it's not gonna be great. I'll tell you that much.
What are you trending at right now?
On our 5-point scale?
No, we have a 10-point scale now.
Oh, that's right, 10-point scale. Oh.
Unless if you don't want to say, if you'd rather save it,
it's probably around the same. It's probably 5 or 6. It's.
So 2 or 3 or 5 or 6.
The game has to be fun to play, or at least serviceable, and I shouldn't feel frustrated when playing the game. And a lot of times I am feeling that, as opposed to it's fun to do they have finisher moves and stuff like that, and they're flashy and they look cool. And
are they cooler than an orbital strike or orbital drop?
No.
Oh, well,
and with Harley, you can stay swinging on your drone, and she looks like a trapeze artist. She's doing all these fun poses, and being Harley Quinn, being silly and goofy, and you can fire while you're doing all that stuff, or throw grenades, and at those very moments it's fun. But then the cooldown of that fucking drone turns off, and I just drop. I'm like, bloop, and I'm like, this is fun right here. Let me keep doing this.
Cooldowns are special moves,
right?
High powered, high energy, high cost, whatever.
Yeah.
Never ever basic movement.
No. Like if Spider-Man had a cooldown on swinging, this is dumb. Or you're on the wingsuit and then the timer goes off and the wingsuit just turns. No, they let you use the wingsuit as long as you want. Because it makes sense. And in these
or even
city-based games like inFamous, like Spider-Man, that is core. You have to get that down.
Yeah. Or just add when you're using the swing, you just slightly drop a little bit, right? Why can't you do that? At least you could then work it into your strategy on how you want to approach something, and not just one jump swing, drop.
Even Arkham Knight, the Batmobile was fun to get around the city, or the gliding. There was no cooldown on your gliding in the Arkham series. You would slowly fall to the ground, which makes sense, but you just zip back up and boom, I'm right back to moving again, and
every game ever. Zelda, Zelda, you fly, you use your little thing, and you got a meter for it, so you got to gauge that. But yes. Oh well, when will they learn?
Yeah.
If you guys need consultants, Nick and I,
right?
Our fees are low. We know a thing or two.
That would be wild. I mean, they do that. You could be you could get some credits in some video games.
I'm
if
pretty
you did some
sure
consult-
Colin Moriarty gets a lot of consulting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just start writing written reviews of video games. Hopefully, you get noticed, and there you go.
God, he started with game facts. That's crazy.
So
he was like a 14-year-old kid just writing game facts. Unreal.
Where do these people find this motivation?
He loves writing. He's a brainiac. What do you do?
But yeah, just start John's blog and just start writing written reviews for every video game you play. You can fit that into your schedule. Don't worry.
I can't fit playing games into my schedule, Nick. How am I going to write about them?
And then you'll get some consulting gigs.
Okay. All right. It's a plan.
But that is it. Unless you got something else, I think we're done with the things.
No, just, teases and whatnot.
Yeah, so teases. A lot of things are happening a week from now.
Yeah.
We'll have a Black Myth Wukong reviews.
I'm excited to see that. That is a game I want to hear. I want to know about the in-betweens of that game, right? Like, I see a lot of boss fights, but what is the in-betweens like?
I mean,
It's a big one for me. I don't know why. Shouldn't be, but it is.
if this is a 90, is this a
Yes.
John buy?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like right away?
I'll probably wait till after Astrobot.
Okay.
I'd probably just get Astrobot and beat it. But if it's a 90, that means that the combat feels incredible. The structure. I mean, that means it does everything it wants to do.
Right. Do you think that? If you were to place a prediction?
If I were to place a prediction, I would say 86. Probably.
Okay. So you think it's going to do better than Stellar Blade
Review wise?
and Liza P? Yeah.
Yeah. It looks so fluid and good.
Yeah, they had a
and
recent
graphic.
trailer.
Like it looks really high tier. Again, if it's just big fight after big fight after big fight, that wears you down fast.
Sure.
So
you would know.
I would know. I mean, and in a game like Cuphead, it's not as like. But if you played a game like Elden Ring, right, and the only thing you're doing is going one boss battle to the next
Right.
boss battle, like I'm just like, dude, I can't keep up my level of intensity that
Right.
I need. But yeah, it's one I got my eye on. But I'm curious.
Yeah, the latest trailer showed off like a different fighting styles, and they were pretty gnarly. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's just so fast. I mean, the frame rate looks great, and yeah, I don't know. Hideo Kojima said he has been excited for 2 years for this one or something, so he knows a thing or two.
Yeah, he knows video games. Also, a week from now is the launch of Concord.
Oh no!
I don't know if we'll have reviews then because it is a live game, and this is the early access because it's officially out the 23rd, but early access on the 20th. So I don't think we'll have reviews by next episode. But
I just hope that it's not like dog shit because I said I was going to get an 85, or at least that's what I don't know what I said, but I said something.
Yeah, we're high on that game. High in that game in quotes. Like it's not a John and I game, but we thought visually everything is there. The quality's there, but
It's still DOA, but yeah, that'll be a. Feel bad for that studio. It's got to be so hard to just work on it. At least Rocksteady, same exact thing. Put all of your time and effort into something, and then be like, all right, let's see what they think.
right.
It's like, did you ever see that video of Cory Barlog, like when the God of War reviews went live?
Yes, of course.
It's the best.
Of course.
It's the best. And he's just he's so emotional and just like all that hard work and how great that feels. And it's just, what's the polar opposite of that?
Yeah.
Not great.
Well, yeah, just imagine anything you create and put your soul into, and then
Everybody's
then
like,
be
yeah,
judged.
that game's DOA. No, I don't got time for this trash.
Right, yeah, I was telling John, and even on the PlayStation 5 subreddit, which is usually, very PlayStation positive, of course, they're downvoting all the news to that game where it's negative. You can't even see, like, the PlayStation blog article came out about their roadmap, and you can't even see it on the PS5 subreddit because they're downvoting it to oblivion. So,
Well,
we'll see. I mean, again, that's just the internet.
I'm not counting it out entirely, but it would be quite a story if that game can find success.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you picked 500,000 sales.
Yeah.
85 and above to be a win for you.
For it to be a win at launch, right? Because it's you need to just grow with these
Right.
games. So you don't have to start huge, but you can't dip. You have
Right.
to keep it
Yeah,
So.
and then when the timer starts when it's going free to play.
Yeah.
Or at least a PlayStation Plus extra game. I'd say that's probably
that's the
coming
move.
sooner. But a week from now is Gamescom.
Mm-hmm.
Opening night live will have aired, so expect our entire episode to just be talking about the announcements. I don't know, John, have you seen the teases so far?
No, sir.
He's going to have Dune Awakening, Lost Records Bloom and Rage, Black Ops 6,
Really?
and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will also be at
Okay.
Opening Night Live. So
Keep forgetting about that one.
yeah, so I'm assuming hopefully a release date for Indiana Jones, hopefully a gameplay trailer. I swear to God, if we get another cutscene with Indy with some German and just I swear,
we
get away from the cutscenes.
You need to see how that game.
Yeah, what does a level look
We
like?
need an 8-minute gameplay demo.
Yeah.
Like I'm
pretty sure we'll get that because that Xbox event is later that week.
Yeah. I'm not anticipating that game being good, but I hope it is. I love it. Indy is special, like as a character.
Yeah, it's Indian Machine Games. You'd think it'd be a slam dunk, but we'll
It's
see.
true. I keep forgetting about who's making it.
So yeah, I really think that all of next episode we'll just go through with Gamescom if everything's worth talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you have any other teases than that, John.
No, I'm playing Hollow Knight now because I'm broken inside. Self-deprecating humor. No, yeah, I'm still playing Danganronpa 2 and just had a Hollow Knight itch.
You want to platinum it? You gonna platinum Hollow Knight?
I am serious about that. Like
You're gonna do it?
I'm going to put an effort forth.
John's hard game platinum.
Yeah,
he likes to get a few of those in.
Well, yeah, I mean, so it's like I have Cuphead, which I think people. This might sound shitty. I don't know. People overblow how hard that game is. I think it's very hard, but it is just watch the enemy.
Yeah.
React to the move set. It's not like an enemy has 75 different moves. It's like no, they got like 6 moves, and you just gotta be good with it. I got the neon white one. Yeah. I can do hard games, but the idea that you got to fight like 46 bosses in a row or whatever it is,
right.
It seems like it will be one where I just throw it through my TV, but I'm gonna try. I love it so much. We'll see. It would be super nice to like 100% that game. I don't know of many Metroidvanias I've like 100%ed. But I wanted to either play Hollow Knight or Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I wanted to do one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, maybe you'll will the sequel into existence next week.
That was another reason. I was hoping that I was like low key hoping that like there was some weird announcement at Gamescom like Silksong. I was like, because I started playing it, guys. But There's
always a chance.
I wanted to play through it a second time before that comes out. I've only beaten it once, and it's probably in my top 10 favorite games of all time. So
wow,
I wanted to do it again, but yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for the show then. Let's get into the song. Of course, got to keep on this Suicide Squad train here and go with Squad Up, the main theme for Suicide Squad. Kill the Justice League by Rupert Cross. That's good. It's a good song.
It's good. It's good.
It's really good. It starts really slow, but then it gets really rocky.
Better
at the
than
end.
the game. It's good.
Yeah. So enjoy that, and again, next week expect a big show. As video games will be back. I mean, we're Gamescom into fall, and it's
Gamescom into Star Wars into Astrobot for you.
Yeah, so it's gonna be game, just a lot. Metaphor ReFantasio.
When is that?
October.
Okay.
Legend of Zelda. Echoes of Wisdom, they're all coming, man. A month from now, you'll be drowning in video games, and of course, you'll have John and I to help you discuss them or listen to us talk about them, discussing them while you're playing them in your basement.
Dude, looking at screenshots of Metaphor makes me mad. Because it's gonna be so good, but I'm not gonna have any fucking time for that.
It'll just like Persona 5. You'll just watch it on YouTube. So.
How about you play it and you just tell me? Even though I know you say
we'll see. I'm burnt out. It's not even on my list of games I'll probably get this fall. It might be a next year thing.
Look at that thing. What the fuck is that thing? Look at it. Crazy.
Their character design is
wild.
On another
lots of
level.
eyeballs, lots of tongues.
They're the ones with the penis monster.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I respect the boldness.
Yeah, exactly. They wield nothing back.
Just gonna go for it.
All right. So thanks for listening as always. Again, if you have thoughts on Gamescom or any of the things we talked about, please write in. We want you to write in. It's fun to read emails.
Yeah, makes us feel loved.
Yeah. Or tell us how much we suck. That's fine too.
That would be great, honestly.
Yeah, I would take criticism all day. Just let us know you're out there. All right. On that note, again, we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
See ya.